here's what we know at this point from the footage and from witnesses that have come forward. Uh, as I think many of your viewers and listeners may have already seen by now, that just as Donald Trump is starting to speak at a campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, which is 35 miles north of Pittsburgh, just as he's starting to lay in with his standard diatribe, against all his political enemies, he reaches up and touches his right ear. He then goes down to the ground. When he comes back up, you can see that there's blood on his ear and that it's trickled down his cheek. What caused that? We don't know at this point for sure. The Butler County District Attorney, so the district attorney for that area, is saying that Trump was grazed by a bullet. That hasn't been confirmed. He could have been hit by debris, which is kicked up by a bullet. That's possible. So that, we're not sure about the extent of the injury. What causes the blood, I should say. We do know from Trump's team that he's being checked out at a local medical facility and he's fine, right? So there's your starting point. Now, what else do we know that could point to how many shots were fired? Was there a shooter in the crowd? What has happened? The Butler County District Attorney has also said that one person is dead and one person is seriously wounded.
Yes, we've just seen that come in from Sky as well. They're reporting to that one person has died at the rally. What we don't know, of course, is if that could be the shooter, right?
Well, no, it's one person who was attending the rally plus the shooter.
Okay.
Right? The shooter has reportedly been killed as well. And I'm saying reportedly at this point. In addition, there is an emergency room doctor who is a Trump supporter who was in the crowd. He was summoned to treat someone. Someone shouted out, "Get this man help, get this man help." And this emergency room doctor says that this man suffered a head wound, a serious head wound. So that's where we are right now, that we are looking at what appears to be shots, and we're looking at what appears to be that there were casualties in the crowd. What I find interesting that hasn't been covered yet in the media is what happens in the immediate aftermath of the shooting. Now, your folks will see tomorrow morning, probably in the Times and other newspapers, they're going to see what's going to become an iconic shot where Trump raises his fist to the crowd. There's an American flag in the background, and he's got like several secret security people around them.
Yeah, it's funny you picked out that shot. I did exactly the same thing at the top of the hour. I was saying that it just jumps out at you, doesn't it, Scott? That's an image of the campaign immediately.
Now, here's the value added. Trump's immediate instinct was to get that type of image. Trump comes back to his feet. He's surrounded by the Secret Service who are trying to protect him. He puts the fist in the air. And as they're trying to move him away, he stops them and says, "Wait, wait, wait." Then he shouts to the crowd. And this intersects with what Tom Newton Dunn was saying about how the crowd were sitting there. It's like, we blame press, we blame Democrats, we're going to get whoever did this. And he goes, "Fight, fight, fight." So Trump's immediate instinct is to elevate this in terms of, because he knows it's going to be a big moment for the campaign, to elevate this into, we are going to fight. An hour before the rally had nothing to do with the shooting. But Trump put out in his flyer for the rally, all hell is going to break loose. I don't think he anticipated it would break loose the way that it did, but when it did, he's immediately going to exploit that moment.
Sure, and that speaks to his astuteness as a political operator for his audience and understanding the power of an image. It's even in those circumstances where he's got blood on his face and he's being pushed down, as you say. But it shows that he's committed to it, doesn't it? It's not an act. Sometimes people say, oh, he's only interested in the angle, he's only interested in the propaganda, he's only interested in being a TV star. But I mean, he doesn't know at that moment that someone else isn't in the crowd about to turn around and shoot him again. And yet he does, as you say, hang out the car and stick his fist in the air and get the crowd on side. It's an extraordinary moment, not just because of its political astuteness, but because he actually took a risk there. And that does seem to imply, whatever you think of him and his politics, that he does really mean this stuff.
Well, two things here. First of all, Donald Trump's a reality TV star. Let's just put it, as a businessman, he tried to build the business by being a celebrity. When the business went bankrupt, effectively, he rebuilt himself by being a reality TV star on The Apprentice. He was a reality TV star on the World Wrestling Federation for 2 years. So his instinct is reality television. That's the first thing he's going to do that. But the second thing is going to be that Trump is going to immediately turn this into combat. Now, first of all, I'm not minimizing the fact someone took a shot at him, or apparently, someone apparently took a shot at him. And we shouldn't forget that. But you are absolutely right that Trump's response is going to be not let's calm this down, let's bring this down, not let's get myself to safety. It's going to be, all right, here we are, folks. This is a battle. That's the way he does politics. And that's the way he's going to try to do this incident, however it plays out, as we establish more in terms of what happened. I will add one other thing that is important here that Tom Newton-Dunn raised as well. And that is, Trump is not the only person, if this is indeed an attempted shooting. We had Gabby Giffords, who was a Democratic senator who was shot just over a decade ago. Steve Scalise, Republican representative, shot several years ago. Trump is someone who, in his rallies, has advocated violence. That's how he operates. He's advocated violence against those who heckled him. He's advocated violence against those who are from minorities, including demonstrators. He's advocated violence against immigrants. He lives with the idea of the politics of violence, and that's what's going to now feed into this campaign in ways that I think we're going to see play out within days. Because remember, the Republican convention starts on Monday.
Yeah, I mean, also the other thing is the international support that this will give him. One of the ways in which his opponents, it seems strange to talk about such a dramatic moment in political terms, but as you say, it is high politics, isn't it? One of the things that his opponents will want to say is that, if he's president, he'll undo some of the work that Biden's done, that he won't have allies and friends, that he wants to disband NATO, et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, something like this happens, and obviously everyone's straight on their social media saying that they support him now, albeit it's the people you'd expect to support him, that get in there first, Benjamin Netanyahu, Viktor Orban. But nonetheless, international leaders saying thoughts and prayers with the president, we wish him well, I'm shocked, we pray for him, etc. And Elon Musk as well, using the opportunity to say, I back Donald Trump, I support Donald Trump. I mean, it's clear that this is a moment that, assuming he remains well, is going to help his campaign.
Well, let's parse this. I mean, first of all, Elon Musk, who is a man who will never miss an opportunity and who is a diehard Trump supporter, is going to say that. So let's put Musk to the side. What I find interesting is the reactions both from politicians abroad and politicians at home. Now, they're expressing the fact, we hope Trump is okay, we hope he's fine, which you absolutely should say. I hope Trump will be fine. We all should be saying that. I hope there are no more casualties that we get from the crowd. And that is horrible that we've already had at least one person who apparently has been killed. All of that needs to be said. But what's interesting is it's not that they are giving political support to Trump. The representatives in the states and then leaders abroad, the first thing they're saying here is political violence of any kind must not be endorsed or tolerated. And remember that, political violence, right? Because when they say that, they're cognizant of the fact that the type of politician that Donald Trump is that Trump is someone who countenances violence. He is someone who speaks in a language of violence. He is someone who has advocated violence. So I read those statements a little bit differently. What they're trying to do is to dial the temperature down on all sides, because the real risk that we have immediately, and it'll be interesting to see if the Trump campaign fuels this or backs off, is there's going to be calls for violence against the media. There's going to be calls for violence against Democrats. There's going to be calls for violence against other groups who are perceived as Trump's enemies. And that is a risk which goes beyond the immediate aftermath of this event.